Computer department had a ghost too.
Oh yeah, we have Sydney the ghost.
Hi, Dahmer.
Okay.
Here's the ghost.
Have you ever met him?
Have I ever met him? No. Has he broken the lights on our show? Yeah.
Okay.
There you have it. The EVPs, if you guys do indeed find something in that recording, just know that that's the one piece that I won't spot check. So even among the four of you, you're still going to record a good 6 to 8 hours worth of media. I told you I'm going to get it back to you within a few hours after we're completed, because when I upload it, I spot check it only. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing and find every little detail in there, because that's half the fun of what you guys paid for.
Right.
I'm basically leaving you the breadcrumbs so that way you actually have them in a written format as well. So it's all my research that goes into this. So that's what the voice recording is for. If you find something, just text me, email me. You're all going to have my contact info when we're done anyway. So the first thing we're going to be using is a thermal imaging camera, as requested. So this is a FLIR. So this is a FLIR thermal imaging. In case you're not familiar, that is like top of the line kind of stuff. However, this is a downgraded FLIR because somebody broke my upgraded FLIR. So luckily I had this in my retirement box and I was able to dig it out while I wait for the insurance to cover the broken one. But with this, what do you think we're looking for?
We're looking
Heat
for heat.
signatures.
Not heat.
Cold?
Cold. So don't overthink it, guys. Have fun with it. So we are literally looking for cold spots. It's the old adage that it makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, the whole 9 yards. Like, it's a thing. So in a scientific format, we are looking for, basically blue and black on the screen, because you should be able to see me, orange, red, and yellow guy, which means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame. Sorry, Jerry. That's the way it works. So mainly women here. I can outrun you. So I got jokes all night too, guys. Sorry.
Chances are you will.
Now, we're looking for those blue and black spots to either move or take shape. When I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. That's what we've caught with this guy in the past. That's hopefully what we'll capture again someday. Now, does this capture something every night? No, it doesn't. I got about 4 or 5 pieces per year out of this guy that I will put my stamp of approval on that it was indeed paranormal. So again, I'm not a TV show host where everything is going to be a ghost, just so you guys get that thought out of your brain right now. I'm going to show you how this really goes down. We're also looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. This is the new one, and I had to change the phone on it too. So this is basically a whole new rig in the past week. Normally I'll be looking for those blue or black areas if they start moving. That's what I'm looking for. You're always going to have blue and black, like those windows over there.
Okay.
So they're obviously not moving,
Right.
not counted. So I want to, you're going to see the point. So this is your start and stop button. I'll give you the cues for start. Yeah, you can. Well, no, definitely not.
After the horse.
And our next stop is literally from here. So that's why I want to give you a secondary device. So that's what you can have.
I would like to hear it.
So I'll tell you when you're spot on, and I'll also tell you when you're wrong.
But I want to tell you, it's not fun being an empath. You feel too much. You hear too much. Feel too much. Okay, turn it on.
I'm going to cover the history.
Ah! Okay, just tell me that.
Yep, you got it.
Oh no, my glasses.
Glasses, don't move, don't
Right
move,
there.
don't move. I work in the dark here.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Serious.
All right, so definitely keep an eye on your EMF reader in here, because we usually tend to see spikes between 18 to 22 on an average. So once you get like anything from 2.5 and higher, and you're going to keep it escalating. For example, if you get a 2.5, I'll write it down. Then you get a 5. Now you're not going to give me anything below that 5. Your baseline is going to keep going up when we enter each new space. Does that make sense now?
Gotcha.
All right, so anything I need to know about before I get started? Welcome to a parking lot. Congrats, you made it. I told you, I take you guys
Right
to
on.
weird spots. So this particular location used to be something. All you communication device people, which is basically all 4 of you, this is where I start withholding information on purpose. I will not be giving you questions here like what color was George Washington's white horse. So just kind of keep that in mind, like what we did with the big red barn. You will get the answers hopefully from your communication devices. I will cover the history.
Ooh, I just got a 7.2.
Okay, there's your baseline. So now we're going to keep it going up. I'll write down 7.2, and then you're not going to tell me anything below that. We're going to keep it going up. will happen is I'll go over the history here. We'll spread out a little bit. I'll do a quick 1 or 2 round robins with you guys to see what's going on with your devices, take a few notes, and I'll regroup us to give you all of these answers. So just kind of, that's how each location will normally work. Oh, they added those weird red lights on the there. Weird, kind of throwing me off. Anyway, so this parking lot used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of the space, basically where that car is parked, in front, on each day. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Who the hell were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So we got cars coming in, Jerry. Yeah, definitely lower. So if you weren't paying attention, that's 3 different shots. That's the husband, the son, the nephew. That's why we look for secondary clues. In the event one of you here is the name Charles, I need to know which one it is so we know how to address them. They're all 3 different men. You guys got the point on that. Now, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you combined. Would you get it?
No, nothing.
Oh, sorry. Whenever you say something, I assume you have Tourette syndrome and you're just saying whatever you hear. So that's kind of like how I operate.
Gotcha.
Again, I do this every night.
9.0.
So, 9.0.
12.8.
9, 12. Okay. What else? So 12.8 is going to be your new base.
Where's all this need? So someone here?
Oh, she's here. She's waiting.
here?
Oh yeah, she's always here.
She's always here? She wants to hear me.
Well, you had hear me as we were kind of entering again.
This comes off here.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking for those details, mainly nouns. Now, where was I? The Constitution gentleman,
Yeah.
right? If I don't give the gentleman that recognition every night, they're going to do it for me in a very nasty manner on a spirit box. So I just give it to them, we move on. We're going to be talking about there we go. Back on again. Nice and easy. If that happens again, it's 6474.
What is it?
The 6474
Okay.
is the password.
Is his hands on the other side or that side?
As long as he's not covering the cam, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Cam's on
camera's
the
right
lower
there.
left-hand side. Eliza's history is way more interesting than signing the Constitution, which gave us our freedom, right? So let's talk about Eliza. She marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it slowly because if you're going to ask her how old she was, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, when young ladies got married at the ages of 12 to 14. Think of today's standards of when women get married, because the husband was over double her age. It was creepy then, it's creepy now. I'll just put that out there.
It
Now,
still happens.
it does still happen, unfortunately. That's why I always say creepy then, creepy now, because it does happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, she married him because her father was over in England. The father thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. Instead, she stays put right here, gets married. It is 1744. You do not get married in that specific year to get married, to get a green card. We're not a country. So this is a true love story. There's nothing horrific about this location whatsoever. If anything, it is a place of respect. She was correct. Dad did not die right away, and instead he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. You guys are wearing it right now because that's how we use it today. When she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. It's not always hot here. Then she had to learn how to make the dye. When she learned how to make the dye, she moved it to a cash crop and got a hold of her father and told him the rice plantations were going downhill. They were going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial days. Something absolutely unheard of. So you guys ought to see me during Women's History Month. We're going to be talking about a lot of powerful women tonight. But anyway, that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are here. So what's going to happen is with this location, I hand out focus questions. So you guys can either say these things out loud, or you can just focus on them. Some people are uncomfortable with talking to somebody they can't see. I can guarantee you that she is always here. It is a rarity that I don't get something out of this location. One of the most haunted spaces, believe it or not, in my 14 years of ghost hunting that I've ever been in. So let's kind of go through it. Lily, you're going to be focused on Eliza's death. So she's really open about talking about it, as long as you're respectful. The 4 major questions that we get answers to: how old she was when she died, how she died, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So if that doesn't tell you how important she was, I don't know what will. Your device. The one with the words on it is usually like a catch-all. So just keep in mind, guys, when we're asking her questions, so Connie might be asking a question, Lily might get the answer, or it might come up on the audio of Jerry's camera or my voice recorder. It can go anywhere. So even if there were just 2 of you here, there would be at least 2 pieces of communication, just so we know where it falls. But we're going to be hoping that you're going to be seeing words on your word list that are going to be relevant to the questions that are being asked out of these 2 ladies. But you have something else?
Yeah, I wanted to give you a comment. When you were talking about the guy being dead, I got negative and then horrible, like right after each other.
Which guy being dead? The father?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was dying, but he wasn't like dead yet.
Okay.
So we had negative and then horrible.
Horrible.
I'm sure it was, but that's opinions. Unfortunately, for me, that doesn't really truly. For me, that doesn't count. Like I don't have enough girth behind that.
So she must have died in the early 1800s.
No.
Well, then who was the president?
I said a president, not the president.
Oh.
I choose my words very carefully.
Yeah, okay. Well, and I needed to know
Yeah.
that.
And good on you for catching that.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
like, well, hot damn.
Was there anything about a journal?
Yes.
Because I heard journal like forever ago.
Okay. Yes, there is a journal involved.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'll be writing that down. Your focus questions. Again, might be catching answers from whatever Lily's asking, but the mansion's not here anymore. Your device usually only gives us like 1 to 2 syllables at a time. You're going to be focused on what happened to the mansion, and then if we get the what out of anybody, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers from the exact date of when that actually occurred. We're talking very specific numbers.
Okay.
So you guys are going to see that when I reveal all of this too. You're like, oh shit, you've actually gotten that? Yeah, it's a regular thing. So I'm actually going to keep you behind with me so I can give you that extra device and show you how it works.
Okay.
It's almost like a little digital Ouija board. It works off of EMF, just like the device that she has with the numbers.
Okay.
So anytime there's a spike, it'll give you a letter. So you're going to be looking for things being spelled out from that as well.
Okay.
So that way you can have something to use when I'm talking. But yeah, you're going to stay behind with me. Everybody else, let's spread out, stay away from the vehicles, and I'll do a round robin with everybody while I get her set up with this little Ouija board device. Square.
Well, I haven't seen anything either.
Well, you want to keep it running when you're in a space
Okay.
for the entire time, because if you just hit it when you think you see something, it's gone.
Okay.
So usually if I say let's go ahead and hit the record button, just leave it run until we leave.
Okay.
But with your cam, I do send it over to YouTube, so that way you guys can watch it on your TV.
All right.
I watch it on my computer. So
Cool.
again, with it being that small of a screen, and that's actually a larger screen than the last phone I had it on, it's still difficult to see things. So it's still fun to watch in real time because you learn about thermodynamics this way.
Yeah. When my dad died, we're out in front of his house. It's raining, storming. Me and my sister were out there smoking a joint and taking pictures of the house. And he's got this magnolia tree. I take a picture of his house, and I'm looking at the front of the house, and there's this big fucking head, big eyes, mustache, and it looks like Kilroy on the fence, his fingers, and he's looking over like this.
Okay.
Take another picture. He's smoking down the tree.
Nice.
Gone. Take another picture. And there's clouds around.
Okay.
Looks like God
Oh.
sticking his hand out. Blue, wavy, white, beard, kicking back in the clouds. Another one got my aunt in the front window of his office. Trippy. My aunt's dead too.
You got all these pictures still, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to hang on to that stuff. You can write your own book with the amount of pictures and
dude.
stuff you guys said you found.
It's funny, when I was at the cemetery, we're in the oldest section is 18, I think the earliest was 1820 something.
Okay.
And in that section was old people, but then they have another section, it's all kids, little babies, didn't make it. So we're setting K-rails on the street, and I got my truck, I pull in, get my truck, so I get out of my truck, I take pictures of my truck, blue orbs just dancing, click, click, dancing, click, click, dancing, 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 then they're gone. Hey, little fuckers. Okay.
I was actually going to bring out the infrared camera for you, but that's a super small camera. Like,
Yeah.
that's a little tiny GoPro. Like, that's hard to see in real time.
Yeah.
But it captures orbs, like, in motion. And I have criteria to make sure it's not insects, dust, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So, like, when you said you guys caught that big one,
Yeah.
like, the biggest one I ever caught was actually on this route that we're going through tonight.
Oh, cool.
But it actually was intelligent. Moved towards me, stopped, turned, and then went up and disappeared in frame. Like, I had the whole thing from start to finish.
Me and my brother and sister, we text every day. My brother's up in Utah, my sister's in Oklahoma.
Okay.
my brother's, we seen sunrise and sunset. He's got this little orb that follows him around. And you can see it when he takes a picture, he'll be spinning. Or his little dog will be there, and it's like it's trying to play with the dog. And it follows him, just follows him around. So something happened at the park.
Yeah.
Residual hanging around.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. And I was in Colorado Springs doing a project, and I had a penthouse apartment while I was staying there, look downtown. I'd take pictures every day, and I'd get shit in the trees, down on the sidewalks, cruising around right next to me. So my sister says, "Oh man," and a couple of them, I'd take a Pikes Peak. This Pikes Peak was out in my view, and the clouds and the sun. It was kind of rainy then. I got some gnarly shit in the clouds. Looked like Indians. Is what it looked like. Pretty cool.
Connie, come on over. I want to hear what you got. She can't hear me. Let me go up to her.
But like when those orbs came home with us.
Yeah, you guys got to put a stop to that.
Yeah, and I take pictures of my truck, outside of my truck.
Say, what do you got going on?
I got after the Charles. I heard what did I hear? No, I read Hat,
Okay.
and then I read Buddy.
Wow, that's a long one. Spelled properly? B-U-D-D-Y? Okay.
I don't know if they even said that then.
Have you heard anything else coming out of the black one?
Yeah. I heard okay,
Okay.
and I couldn't get what the lady said, but the energy's right here. Like I get nothing here at all. Like it stops. It's only right here. Only the static comes through here.
Anything else that you're feeling personally?
Chills, hair standing up.
When she talked, but I couldn't hear her.
Okay.
And it wasn't a small word. She was talking.
Trying to.
And then it stopped, and I couldn't get what she was saying. I
And that's
couldn't
why
hear what
we'll
they were
use the
saying.
radio chatters, because again, the concept is that they might not actually have enough of their own energy to use their own voice.
Right.
Hence, they're going to use the radio chatter to give us those messages.
Yeah.
So, in the event that you're hearing the same constant voice over multiple stations, that's definitely not coming from a radio station.
No, it's her voice. I
Right.
mean, I can hear that voice over and over. It's never changed. The voice has never changed, and the guy's
Nice.
voice has never changed.
Never change.
No, it's the same each time. And how weird, because I never noticed that was her voice. That I'm hearing it constantly.
Huh.
She said the number 69 too. You got any other numbers? Yeah, did you get a number 69?
See why? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear like you said why?
Yeah.
What is she doing? She done?
She's listening. You gonna follow Connie around? Come on, show yourself. You gonna take a walk with her? Take a walk with her. You know it's really okay.
How much heat do I have?
Nothing to fear. But fear itself.
Do I have a lot of heat? Am I hot?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, she gets a little crazy sometimes. She's all that in a bag of chips. Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and put you on mute. Yep, you got it. So go ahead and stop your video, Jerry, and give your hands a break. I'll be...
Another girl.
Okay.
She had a deep voice.
So a couple of things in here. Your baseline is going to start at an 8. The reason why, we do have lamp posts near us with electricity emerging out of them, so I want to make sure what we have is usually over that 8. And it's an anomaly thing if we do get that, just so you know. Let's see, your camera, Jerry, just so you know.
Yeah.
And when people are down here, we're going to just be discreet, just lower it. So sometimes other tours will pass through us,
Yeah.
so we just kind of part the seas and lower our camera. If you want to listen the whole time, that's up to you. So again, I usually get when I hand the spirit boxes off that people are just wandering, not even paying attention to me. Like, I'm not offended because I'm just used to it. So we're going to basically stir shit up, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. So let me tell you why we're here. Welcome to Philadelphia Alley.
Ooh, hey,
yeah.
we're from Philly.
Yeah, you guys got all kinds of... That's why I said when you guys told me that, I'm like, hopefully we get some raised things around you. So that could be why we are having so much going on with your EMFs, because you might be, you're going to have a link to where Eliza's buried, so you'll be able to actually go visit her if you'd like. Yeah, exactly. So this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where duels used to occur.
Oh my gosh.
Now, every ghost tour comes down here. This was actually the space I was going to take out of my route this year, because every ghost tour comes down here, and I don't like to do what everybody else is doing. But this guy actually follows me around the city, so you'll see he comes here. He's the bleed over into the next location, and he'll show up again at our last stop. The reason why is because the house that he lived in is actually right around the corner from our last stop, so he will slip in from time to time over there. So here's how this goes. It's a giant cliche and a big old trope, so let's get into it. A doctor moves in here from Rhode Island down here to Charleston. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that the song Brown Eyed Girl shows up during Lily's recording, it's not coincidence, we get it all the time. It's part of his name. But anyway, he moves down here from Rhode Island because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. He moves here to prove that he's not. So on his way into town, he had a coachman that set him up to be robbed and killed. It's like having a really bad Uber driver today, if you think about it in today's terms. Now, somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen, and the guy walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. I was going to stop there for just a second because it's going to explain why we used a little Ouija board device, because I bought it for this location. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. RI was showing up on your spirit box periodically. I wanted to verify who it belonged to, so I bought that device. Just a few nights ago, it was the perfect example. The minute I said Ralph's name, we had RI show up. Every time I've said it, and every time we've gotten the RI, it's shown up with Ralph's name. So now I know that it's attached to his initials, not the Rhode Island.
So was he isolated and did he die?
They're all dead.
I know. He said isolated and then died.
Yeah, no, that's not how that's going to work out.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, they're all dead. So, talking about people from the 1700s here.
Right, that's true.
Now, back to Ralph. He tells Doc, I
Ralph,
know this guy.
right.
He's going to shoot. This guy's going to kill you because I know him. He's going to set you up to be killed once you get inside the building. He's like, why don't you just follow me? I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them. You'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. The two gents became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down so they could be married. Dr. Ladd, this pretty happy guy, then became known as the Whistling Doctor. This is why I hate the story. It's a giant old cliche. Every haunted city you will ever visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. Ours just happens to be a doctor. Let's talk about why we are in Dueler's Alley and talking about the doctor. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor gets better seats because he makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. Now, on the way home from seeing Richard III one night, they are arguing over the actress that they just saw. Neither one of them had seen her before, and Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. Ralph then starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, in the heat of the argument, and it got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, like I said, so he goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit. Doc saw this ad and rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Let's settle this, somebody's gonna die. So, Keep in mind, this whole argument started over an actress. I just like to point that out because it's really dumb. Anyway, the two gentlemen came down here. They came back to back, took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor shot his gun in the air, his only bullet. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just needed the courage to show up, which is often what happened at a duel. Ralph, however, still has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die. Ralph just proved he's still pissed off, not willing to forgive. Doc fell to the ground, but his friends picked him up. They took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. I'm going to point out two things. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then, aren't they? Secondly, he's a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but obviously he failed. Now, you did hear 80s and shoot. He died in 1786 because he was shot. That's where the correlation comes in. Now, every ghost tour that comes down here tells their guests to listen for the whistles. That's what they listen for. However, we have a camera running, plus my voice recorder. If we're going to capture a disembodied whistle, which I have, they're going to come more than likely from these two devices. However, Lily's device is listening through all of the radio stations. I can't tell you how many times the whistling part of a song shows up and then the word doctor comes up immediately after from a commercial. It's his little nod, like he's here, just saying hello. Happens all the time. The number 59 will show up here all the time. You guys got the point. There's a lot of little subtle clues in there. I'm also withholding information about the doctor, so when you guys hear certain things, when we get over to the next location, you're going to tell me all those silly things that you're hearing, and it might be relevant to the doctor. Now, if you're going to try to listen for these whistles for yourself, I think some of you just got into town today, am I correct? Didn't somebody just get here today? No? Somebody just got here. But anyway, maybe I'm thinking of last night's person.
We're staying at Myrtle Beach.
Oh, okay. That's why you nodded at her earlier when I said Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to come through here with your voice recorders from your phone trying to capture those whistles for yourself, just remember that every local knows this story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down this alley. It's just something we do here in Charleston. And I do it every single time ever since I've been thrown out of here. You guys will probably appreciate that because it seems like you guys have the sense of humor that I'm about to tell you the funny part of the story. Now, there's a reason why we're going to the next location that we are, because, again, I've been booted out. Let me explain. There used to be a wall about halfway between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because before it was Dueler's Alley, this used to be called Cow Alley. So they used to keep their livestock down here, cows, chickens, and goats, nicknamed Cow Alley. Why am I telling you this? That means that the bricks down on the other side, down by Queen Street, are older than the ones you're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child in one of those bricks, along with fingerprint swipes in others. You just have to know where to look. I used to take my groups all the way down there for a history lesson. Nothing paranormal about it. That kid's not there. You already know how I feel about cemeteries and investigating them. That kid, that's the last place you're going to find him.
Rebecca? Is anybody a Rebecca?
No. We are also next to a cemetery. Could be a little bit of bleed over.
Okay.
So I always research names, so we'll see what I find.
Okay.
So November 26th of 2020, I took my entire group down for their history lesson on the handprint. And I'm usually very brief with it. I usually tell it as we get there because I don't want anybody to stop. So what did they do? They stopped. They're all circled around that brick with the handprint, waiting for something to happen. Keep in mind, this was a group of 10 people. Like, I'm sold out. So I'm trying to rush them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and we're standing outside the beautiful window of the mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful to somebody's home. I didn't realize that I was out of bounds. The owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on tour that night and her father's getting yelled at. She was all about it. Like, she thought it was hysterical. So anyway, I was still new at this. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving simply because I worked for upper management for Walmart for over 10 years. You guys fight over towels on Thanksgiving. Scarred me for life. I'm never working Thanksgiving again. The next day was the 28th. The dates are relevant. I'm going to explain. I called my partner that brought me into tourism that I used to work with, and I told him what happened, trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do next? So he says, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff point for tours that time of night. You're going to have to reroute your group. Well, the rest of my tour used to be through on the other side of the alley. There was a problem. Now I have to take people back out this way. So what I told my group that night, I'm sold out because it's Black Friday, I told them I don't believe in the next story because I'm into vampires, not pirates. We're obviously talking pirates next, in case you haven't figured that out. So I was like, we'll just kind of see what happens, and we're going to wing it. Somebody, before we left with the spirit box, heard the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we are going to be investigating, the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was like, oh snap, maybe we're going to get something. And I'd been to that location dozens of times with my equipment, just on my own personal account, trying to look for anything. Never found anything. So when we get over there, I told what I did know about pirates, and somebody else with a spirit box, different person, heard the number 300. I didn't know what it meant. I wrote it down. Did the research for them. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720, the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. Now, I normally get the wows and the oh shit kind of look. I was actually quite pissed off. Let me explain. My problem with pirates is I have a master's degree in creative writing. Whenever I'm researching anything, I need facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which was written 100 years after the golden age of piracy, the days of Blackbeard. That means I have to read more books when you guys find stuff. Luckily, we are 4 years later, so I have read more books on pirates than I've ever wanted to in my entire life. Watched more documentaries, played video games, you name it. If it deals with pirates, I've watched or done the entertainment piece of it. So hopefully when we're over there, it is a 50-50 roll of the dice if she'll even be there. I'll explain that once we get there. It's not Eliza who's going to be almost like attached to that space. Anne is kind of all over. We'll kind of see what happens. But that's why I like the bleed over from Dr. Lag when we get over there, so hopefully we'll get things from both locations. Now,
I did get a 10, by the way.
You got a 10.
Yeah.
No. The only thing that would match up to would be the number of paces that he took away from his opponent. Because they do take 10 paces away, but a lot of times we will actually get the phrase 50 feet because 20 paces away from each other in military terms is exactly 50 feet. So we've had that several times. So it's a very interesting, that's how I learned about it. I was like, I wonder how many paces, like how many feet that actually turns out to be. But I also stopped at this gate for a very specific reason, because not a whole lot of people know why this gate is actually here. So I've already told you that there was a wall up this way, right? So if there's a loser to the duel down here, meaning a dead guy, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they gotta walk all the way down to Queen Street and then double back around with a dead body, which is heavyweight, before they can go celebrate the winner. So the gate was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway was definitely part of the original wall. I just like to point that out. It's not a whole lot of tourists like know what the hell this gate is actually for. They just look at it as an easement at this point, because the other side actually belongs to the church, this side belongs to the city. So we are going to go up and around the corner and learn about some rated R pirates, and we'll see what we can capture up there. And nobody got my dad joke, so I have to take it a step further. He's like, please don't. No, you got it now that I pointed it out. But if the letter R is not a pirate's favorite letter, what is it?
Oh. Dong.
It must be the C.
I'm telling the kids that. I'm telling my grandsons that.
Jared, you can stop your camera and give your hands a break if you want.
Stop the camera. Double energy.
You got anything?
When we were over there,
I wrote that one down. So a lot of times what Dr. Lab will do is like when we're about to enter the alley, he'll say left. Like, so we'll get that a lot.
No. That was what I heard, but I couldn't quite get it because I'm like, I heard the L,
Yeah.
and then I couldn't get the what.
Or he'll say turn here. So we'll get that kind of directional pieces from him all the time. All right, so
I hit a button on this because it was beeping at me.
oh yeah, you broke it.
I know.
So with this location, a couple of things before I tell you the history. I get excited about a 2.5 on this here because we usually have flat zeros. So in the event you wander and you get closer to the street over there, those parking meters, and 2 lower transformers, that'll give you like a 6 to an 8. Don't get excited.
Okay.
So 2.5 usually on this back half. What's going to happen with this location is I'm going to breeze through this as much as possible, like as quickly as I can, because you guys are always eager to get back to work after 2 stories. I will slow down on some of the twists with this because we are talking about a badass female pirate. So she's like, yeah, I'm all about it. Plus it's fun, more fun. I was going to say funner. The English guy was about to say funner, everybody. It's more fun when I speed through it, believe it or not. So we are here because of that building right there with the crosses on it. Now, the Californians in the group, they're going to laugh their asses off at me. So here's how this goes. Those are not crosses. They're earthquake bolts.
What? Huh?
Retrofitted. So
Yeah.
it won't fall apart.
Right. They are turnbuckles. So in the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we have not, by the way, you can turn the turnbuckles, and it's supposed to tighten the building so that way it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea. It
If
just
you
doesn't.
could get to it.
Well,
It doesn't
in
work.
time.
but it doesn't work. So it's
Yeah.
pointless.
It doesn't work.
So even the apartment building behind it, the larger brick building, has them on every single floor if you look close enough. And what's funnier even about that building is it is on all 4 sides. So if you think about it, they're basically crisscrossed in between the floor and the other floor. So it's kind of a ironic thing. Anyway, but we're here because.
So we got a 10.6 a couple seconds ago.
Where was your cell phone?
And
in
now
that
I'm
matter?
at 5.8.
Oh yeah,
It's your
Mom.
cell phone.
It's my cell phone.
And it's not the other one because there's no signal coming off of it.
Gotcha.
So just put it in your bag.
Yeah, it's coming off of your phone. Now I have to question the 10 that you got in the alley. Did you have your phone out?
No.
Okay.
The only time I took out my phone was when we were taking a picture of
Got
that.
it. Okay. So we are here because the crosses on that building, the earthquake bolts, are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, because that is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. Now, with that said, because it is the oldest government building, it took 10 years to build, and we're here because that building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life. This is what I call a familiar. You guys have all watched the TV shows and YouTubers. You may have seen the new device. They call it a Boo Buddy. It's a teddy bear with the little blinky light device in it, right? They used that to attract a child ghost because he would recognize the bear as a toy. Same concept with this building. We have other buildings that are around that time era, just not many. That's why this is a 50-50 roll of the dice. It will be here. Hopefully we hear from Dr. Ladd as well. I already told you that the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But our history begins right in the middle of its construction. 1708, young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was that wife that she kicked him out of the damn country by boat because there was no planes yet? Yeah, I just like to point that out. Anyway, they landed in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. You guys drove through it on your way down here. Dad bought a plantation up there. Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat, hence the familiar building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland is said to be a badass even when she was a little kid. They say when she was about 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is exact, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Just like to give you the mentality of this young lady as we move through her history. Fast forward, building's done in 13, by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. The reason why, she's going to fall in love with one of these guys so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world during these days. First guy she fell in love with. I said first slowly because there's a handful. That's what makes the story. We're going to talk about all of them. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going. I told you her pirate name already. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny, hence her pirate name. Now, when they get down there, she realizes her new husband, James, is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. That makes him a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2.
I just got a 30 days.
Is your phone still on? Like, can you see the screen? That is super duper high. Like, the highest I've ever seen out of this location in the 4 years I've been coming is like a 12. I'm going to write down a 38. We're going to see if it pops up again. That's crazy.
Mom, did you want to put your phone in my bag?
Yeah,
For right
sure.
now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just
So that way for the future we know that it's not you.
Yeah. Just for skeptics.
3.9
We've had 3s here, regular.
mortality.
But I did get excited about a 2.5. So, guy number 2, John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering. He's a real person. Now, Jack has his own crew. He has his own ship. And wants to be part of that crew and ship. Can't put a female on a pirate ship. Anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Thank you for keeping it family friendly.
Yeah.
I get a lot of raunchy answers to that. It's also
Yeah,
make sure you
that's
guys
what I
are-
get.
Right.
Yeah. And when I have kids on the tour, I definitely don't throw it back to the
Yeah,
crowd. Because again, I will get those raunchy answers at that point. Anyway, it is bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, look like my crew, you could be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. Man's world. Now, we're all adults here. Put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl and Jack let her on. So before she starts the show, because yes, she did get pregnant, before she starts to show that pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. These are friends of mine. They'll help you with the pregnancy. Come back later and we'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. So none of my research has ever discovered it, by the way. Now, she also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. Everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. They're going to vote him off. Now, to make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured.
Oh my God.
Now we have 2 females, dressed like male pirates on the same ship. You guys picked that up, right? Good.
Right.
Lila, you're looking confused. That's why I said it again.
No, I'm there.
Okay. Now, this young lady's name was Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Now, her and Anne became friends numbers, we're not really sure because of the time era, but the British found out where they are. They send a whole fleet of Navy ships to take down one pirate ship. Rumor is Anne and Mary were the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with one bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannon jets because they haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, two ladies with one bullet guns cannot take on a whole fleet of ships with cannons. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in bow, Jack, and says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you would be hanged like a dog." The word dog is on your communication devices all the time. The judge wants to see the two quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The two ladies go in front of the judge and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge could give a shit that they are female. They are pirates. They're going to be hung anyway. They scream out, "We plead our bellies." They're claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, lays the hanging. It worked. However, Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He sails out Anne and brings her home, and she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we're not really sure. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know anything about her truthful after her pirate career. It's pretty much a giant secret, but there is a lot of assumptions. You can, I'm sure, guess at a lot of them. And the numbers that I just gave you of age of 84 and the 4 children was the most common that I found out of all of my readings. Mary Read died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination on that one. Most folks will tell you that it was fever. I say make it romantic and call it scurvy. I don't give a damn what the hell you call it. Now,
What was Anne's last name?
Bonnie.
What was her first name? What was the first
Anne.
name?
Oh, her original name?
Yeah.
Cormac.
Cormac and Bonnet?
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Anne Bonnie?
And Bonnie. Now, I'm not going to control this environment like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion. I only do that because she's a prominent English lady. We're talking about a badass pirate, so if you brought some rum and tobacco, by all means, have at it. But I will tell you what I left out of the story on purpose, just so you have something to work with. I did not tell you what the names of the parents were, the father, the mistress. So I know what those are, they're facts. The name of the ship that Anne joined with Calico Jack. I didn't tell you what the ship name was. I didn't give you the name of the city that she came from in Ireland. The name of the city she grew up in Ireland, and the color of her hair. Everything else is fair game here. If you ask about the child or any of the children, there's no way for me to prove any of it. It'll just be a personal conversation between you and Anne, and I can't truly count it as evidence because I can't verify it. Make sense to everybody? So have fun with this location. You'll probably see me smoking heavily. I do that purposely here. I even use I vape a lot, and it's a Cuban scent. So that way it should smell somewhat like a cigar to try to attract her. So I do use some trigger objects from time to time. So again, have fun with this location. What have we heard or seen before we spread apart? Anything? You got anything going on with yours? Susan, you're really the only one that's...
Exam, running, float, product, mortality, reach, palatine, extend, can't remember.
Okay.
Anything?
I mean, the word float, but that's very...
Right.
Like, that's a big stretch. I would want more aquatic terms. All right, let's get everything cranked up. Let's see what we can get. Let's do it. And obviously the initials for you looking for on yours would be AB for Anne Bonnie or MR for Mary Read.
Okay.
And then of course we might get them from Dr. Ladger as well. because this is part of the trail that they use. So that large orb I was telling you about?
Yeah.
Caught it right here. I want to show you the camera that I was using, just so you can see what it looks like. Figure let the ladies listen in on all their stuff. You and I can play with some toys.
Right on. We're in Alaska, and we're about a month ago. Spur of the moment trip.
Okay.
And we went back to see this glacier. Walked through the glacier, come back out, and we stopped on the side of the road to get a big picture. It's just beautiful. But in that picture, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
You know, I'm seeing the scenery. But when I started looking at it, I got 4 orbs straight in a line. There wasn't a reflection off the camera because I could see that when I'm taking pictures. You see that little green orb flying around. I know that's not it. But these were like 4 of them, all the same size, in a row, looking right at us. She's got a picture of that mountain range that we're taking a picture of. It's got something on it. Trippy stuff.
So this guy uses infrared light.
Yeah.
So I got 4 on the front here,
Okay.
and then 50 in there. So with this, it picks up things that we don't normally see with our own eyes.
All right.
So this was the exact camera that I caught. We didn't even know we caught it until I went through the data. I was demonstrating how to use laser lights, which is something we used to use,
Yeah.
but there's a laser law in Charleston. I took them out. But anyway, I was just demonstrating it for somebody, and they were filming us, and that's when the orb like showed up in screen. Like it wasn't like from out of frame came in.
Yeah.
It
Just
materialized.
Yeah.
And then moved towards me, but stopped. And you can, if you watch it, it turns.
Oh, right on.
And then moved up and dissipated in frame.
Wow.
Like that's
Cool.
like really cool shit.
Yeah, it is.
But I didn't know if you wanted to play with this one for this stop and the next one.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll take that one from you because
Okay.
the next